One of my friends called Abi told me, if you want to understand the Bible proper, you have to buy a book titled The Book of Romans. I quickly bought this book titled The Book of Romans and was consuming the book. At that time, I was really deep in understanding Bible and then, becoming a good Christian, because back then I want to go to heaven. You realize we sing all manner of songs. Eternal life, eternal life. I want to live eternal life. God save my soul. We sang this song with all manner of concentration and seriousness, believing that when we work hard and become good Christians, at the end of the day, we will go to heaven. Until I started thinking outside the box of Christianity, until I started thinking outside the box of the Bible, then I realized that the book of Romans was carefully chosen for the brainwashing of Africans. Was carefully chosen, and the person who wrote the book of Romans was also carefully choosing figure to write these narratives. Now let's look at the book of Romans, chapter 13, from verse 1 to 7. He said, everyone must submit to governing authorities. Everyone must submit to governing authorities. For every authority, for all authority comes from God. And those in positions of authority are placed there by God. So anyone who rebels against these authorities are rebelling against God. And anyone who is found that is doing this rebellion will be unalived, will be punished. That's what the statement is. You can read your own version. And I know that this is a very important, chapter in the King James Version, because they took this Bible and they detailed it to suit their purpose. So now, let me begin to ask questions as it's bothering me. I am asking you and me to say, who are these governing authorities instituted by God in our various countries? Who are these governing authorities? Those who are sitting in the government house in Nigeria, the senators, the president, the members of the lower and higher, chambers, those in Ghana, those in Cameroon, those in Nigeria, those in different countries of Africa. These are the so-called governing authorities instituted by God, or appointed by God, or elected by God. Those who stole to be president, those who quiet a lot of people during elections, did all manner of scuttling, destroyed systems to become president, thieves, criminals that become the president, senators that stole millions of dollars to become president, to become senators, those that, take away the money given to them for doing development in their own constituencies. These are people who are the governing authorities. These are people who are referred to here as people who are in positions of governing authorities. Criminals. And guess who instituted them? Guess the God that instituted them? The Roman Empire. The government of the day of the Roman Empire. That's number one God. Another God is the government of the day of France. The government of the day of the Britain. The government of the day of Belgium. The government of the day of America. These are various gods, or totality of them. They are the God that instituted all these stooges in Africa. And these stooges that no one can rebel against. And when you are found rebelling against them, you'll be unalived. No wonder they unalived Patrice Lumumba for rebelling against this God. For rebelling against this God. He was quiet. Thomas Sankara was quiet for rebelling against the God of France. From Ghana, our Kwame Nkrumah, that dear man, was quiet for rebelling against the God from Britain. And the whole thing is on and on and on. Britain has to sponsor coup to scuttle the growth in Nigeria in 1966. Because they realized a certain section of the country was developing at a fast speed, at a high speed, that very soon the section would have developed, would have discovered the secret of this manipulation. And they will say, no, we won't continue to be in this union any longer. They scuttled and sponsor the coup that destroyed their so-called democracy in Nigeria. So you can now see who are those sitting at the, at the governing authorities. You can now know who are the gods that instituted these thieves in Africa, and see why we are the way we are. Because this God asked Africans never to rebel. Because what faces you is serious punishment, life punishment. Either you are thrown into prison for life or you are taken away. So we really got to gear and get up in this crusade. We can't forget the past, said by Bob Marley. We've got to be here to deconstruct all this narrative that is sold by our slave masters.